What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. All right, let's go to Saratoga. Race 11 on the card. It will be the Vanderbilt Handicap coming up here. 6 furlongs here. One of the staples of this meet every single year. Going to be a good one here. Field of 8. Let's go through them one by one. I'll put them up on the screen here, and we'll go through them. Like I said, race 11 on the card here. It's a pretty darn good field. And we'll start off with a horse that I love, maybe not so much for this race, but a horse that I do love, and that is the number 1 Skelly as we kick things off. Now, you might say, why do you love this horse but not here? Well, when he's away from Oaklawn Park, he's had trouble winning, including last time out at Churchill Downs, where he was 6th in the Aristides. But, you know, you look at his races at Oaklawn, dominant efforts. They look amazing. You look at his races elsewhere, just having trouble winning. You know, last year, he was just on a roll, just dominating races at Oaklawn Park, and then went to Churchill Downs and lost in the Aristides. Came up here, lost in the Vanderbilt. Went back to Churchill Downs, lost again, lost the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So, had that run, and then went back to Oaklawn this year, 2 wins, and then a loss last time out at Churchill Downs. Going to set the pace. There's no doubt about it. Going to make sure there is pace in the race. No doubt about it. He is fast. He will, usually, oddly enough, he breaks a little slow, and then he flies out there to the front. My kind of theory is it's not so much that, hey, he just loves Oaklawn. It's, hey, the horses that he runs against at Oaklawn, they're not quite as good as the kind of the top level horses. And so that's been his problem. Can he win here? Yeah, I think he can. Will he win here? I predict no. I just can't trust him outside of Oaklawn and against this level of competition. One of my favorites, not going to pick him. The number 2 is Full Moon Madness. This is a horse coming off a win last time out at Delaware Park in an ungraded stakes race. His efforts against graded stakes company, he did win the Tom Fool 4 races back, kind of an easier spot, and then lost the Carter and the John A. Newrood stakes when it got a little bit tougher. I think Skelly is a better horse than Full Moon Madness, I'll say that, but I do think they're kind of similar in the fact that when they face weaker competition, they're going to be tough. When they step up, I'm just not sure, and that's where I am with Full Moon Madness today. Like him, just don't like him in this race. The number 3 is Damon's Mound. This is a horse we're kind of just repeating ourselves a little bit, right? I mean, he runs pretty well about every time he enters. He's a very consistent horse. He's hit the board 8 out of 13 times. He has won 5 of those races, but when they get up to the top level, he just has a little bit of trouble. So kind of repeating myself, but that's just kind of what I see when I see this horse. This year, he did win a state bred stakes race down at Gulfstream Park. And then last time out was in that same race at Delaware that Full Moon Madness was in and was defeated by Full Moon Madness. So I kind of think just a little bit of a cut below. I think there's going to be better. I do like all 3 of these horses I've started with. I like them. Certain spots certainly would pick them, just not in this spot today. And we're going to start to learn why as we go down these next 4 or 5, or at least these next 3 or 4. Let's start with the number 4, Mullikin. A very classy horse, just 11 of 13 lifetime as far as hitting the board. Obviously very impressive. Last 2 races were over the slop. And I think it may have affected him just a little bit. The Churchill Downs last time out, 2 races back. 2 races back. The horse was 5th, but got beat by, Mindframe, Banishing, Nisos, Book'em Danno. That was such a tough race. Last time out in the True North was 2nd behind Bookham Dano. So, got beat by some really nice ones. 3 races back, lost the Cigar Mile. Got beat by Locked, another, at that time at least, another nice horse. Breeders' Cup Sprint, this horse was 3rd, beaten by Straight No Chaser in that race. So you see just very, very tough races. The last 4 ran well, got beat. But 4 races before that were 4 straight victories, including the Grade 1 4-go right here over this track August 24th of last year. So obviously, he's got a Grade 1 win. He's got a Grade 2 win. He's a nice horse. He shows up here with a big chance. He's got a lot of class, and we know he'll show up with his running shoes on. Even those races I mentioned that he loses, he's been very close in all of them. The number 5 is Bookham Dano, and I think we all kind of know his best race is really tough to beat. And I thought he ran one of his better races ever last time out in the True North. He just dominated by a length and a quarter. And you might say, oh, dominated. He only won by a length and a quarter. Hey, a sprint race over the slot, pretty good field. You win by over a length. That's a domination to me. So he looked awesome in that one. I'd mentioned that Churchill Downs, which had mind frame banishing Nisos. Well, the horse that was right there with them was Bookham Dano. At one point, it almost looked like Bookham Dano was going to win. You could say that about the four finishers, top four finishers of that one. And again, like I said, there's really no disgrace losing by a neck to those three horses that I just mentioned. So he was really good there as well. Look, he's another one just super consistent. 12 of 14 lifetime hitting the board. He did finish fifth in Cigar Mile last year. That was just not a very good effort, but he's come back this year, looks really good. Won a race at Colonial. And like I said, the Churchill race, and then the True North was a win. So 2 of 3 this season. So should be tough. Should be very, very tough in this spot today. And I think probably will be the favorite, probably deserves to be the favorite. Let's go to this one, the number 6 Nash next. And he's an interesting runner in this one. Obviously, as a 2-year-old, had a ton of hype. Didn't live up to that hype, but I think we've seen kind of similar to Patch Adams. He doesn't really want to go 2 turns. He wants to go 1 turn. He still wasn't running all that well until his last race. His last race was huge. It was over a sloppy track. He got the job done in allowance company by a nose, and he received a 108 Beyer speed figure. That is a huge standout, and I very much question that number. However, if he can kind of run back to that, he obviously is going to win or be very close to winning. So I'm going to take I don't think that was kind of a legit number. He's stepping back up, and I'm not going to use him. But what if the light bulb really came on for this horse, and it's like, wow, maybe he's got it all figured out. So we'll see what happens here. He's one, that has been poked fun out of a lot because he didn't kind of materialize. But the horse is 11 out of 12 lifetime hitting the board. And the only time he didn't hit the board was up at Saratoga when he stepped up to Grade 1 company in the Woody Stevens, which is another sign to me that I'm not going to use him here. I think he might be a little bit overbet, but if you tell me Nash wins this race, I'm not going to be absolutely shocked by it, but probably one. Well, I'm not going to say probably is one that I'm not going to use. All right, let's go to another horse that has, I think, been very frustrating to bettors one way or another, and that's number 7, Baby Yoda. There are times this horse shows up and runs off the screen. One of those times was last year here at Saratoga in the True North, where he won by 6 lengths, and he earned a 102 Beyer speed figure. And then he ran in the Vanderbilt, and he got 4th, beaten 6.5. That's kind of what he does. He jumps up, runs a big race, and then he'll run some bad ones, and people kind of try to chase him, and then they'll be like, I'm done with him. And then he'll do what he did last time out and receive another 102 Beyer speed figure and win an allowance at Belmont at the Big A by 4 1/4. He had Flavian Pratt aboard that day. He'll have Dylan Davis aboard this day, and this is not a shot at Dylan Davis, who I love, but that kind of tells me something when Pratt did not stay on this horse, that he's got bigger fish to fry. Look, Pratt's going over to Monmouth, right? So that's part of it. It was a big day, and that's going to be a big part of it, right? But at least I assume that's where he's going to be. He's not listed to ride, so I would imagine he's going to be at Monmouth. So that's part of it. But still, it's like, okay, if Baby Yoda was like great, maybe Pratt stays aboard. Who knows? But anyway, I think we missed it, and I always miss him, right? It's like when he jumps up and runs that big race, he never really repeats it. So I am going to throw him out. I will admit I throw him out a lot, and there are, times once every 4 or 5 races that he does beat me. So we'll see what happens, but I can't support him in this spot today. And then finally, the winner of this race last year is back, and that is Nakatomi. Nakatomi last year was able to beat Skelly, as we talked about, and able to win this race last season. Since then, it's kind of been a disaster, I would say, for this horse. But for the most part, he ran in the Phoenix next at Keelan after that win, was second, beaten by a ton. He then went to go in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, where he was 6th, beaten 5 lengths. He went over to Maidani. He almost got the job done there, but lost. And then he came back to run in the True North and was 5th as the favorite. Here's the deal. I'm not going to play him either. I do understand there are times this horse runs very well, including last year, I should say, but there are a lot of times this horse he's just kind of well beaten at a short price. And so that's kind of how I'm going to look at it here. I'm going to go against him in this spot, but obviously a horse that makes sense. No question about it. The horse does make sense in this spot. He won it last year. Kind of similar to Baby Yoda overall, but I think this horse is a little bit better. Talking about Nakatomi, obviously, I mean, he's a little bit more classy. He's earned a lot more money, but just kind of the same inconsistencies. And I'm just going to try to go against him in this spot as well. All right, so that is the field of 8. I really got it down to the 4 or the 5. Is it going to be Mullikin, or is it going to be Bookham Dano? That's just kind of where I'm at in this spot. It's kind of a rematch of the True North. We saw it last time out. Bookham Dano was able to get the job done in that one. I think he gets the job done in this one too. I think his best effort is just a little bit better than Mullikin at 6 furlongs, and so I'm going to go the number 5, Bookham Dano, to win this year's version of the Vanderbilt. All right, guys, that'll do it for the preview of the Vanderbilt. Hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted any time we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're playing Saratoga on Saturday.